Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell saying he wants the Senate to vote on the Green New Deal, putting Democrats who support it on the record. 2020 presidential candidate Amy Klobuchar telling Bret Baier last night that she would vote yes.
The Green New Deal, I see it as, by the way, I see it as aspirational. I see it as a jumpstart. So I would vote yes. I view this as a framework for discussion, but nothing that we are not going to reduce air travel right now. We are not going to get rid of all of these industries right now. We just need to start as a country seeing it as an aspiration to do better than we're doing now.
Karl Rove is former White House Deputy Chief of Staff to President George W. Bush. He joins us now. Karl, good morning to you. Aspirational, and she would vote yes, she says.
Yeah, we're not going to take away your right to get on an airplane now. We're not going to take away your right to have a gas-powered automobile now. We're not going to take away your right to work in the petrochemical industry or the oil and gas production, but we're going to start working down that path. That was the gigantic socialist nanny state coming. But it's aspirational. Don't worry about it. Within 10 years, we're going to get rid of natural gas, coal, and nuclear, and all of our energy under this act would be provided by renewables, which nobody thinks is achievable. This is a ill-thought-out, ill-conceived scheme. And if it were to be followed, it would beggar the economy to no good purpose. The United States of America is the only major industrialized country that for most of the last 20 years has kept its CO2 emissions flat or slightly reduced while growing its economy. Now, we've grown it in the last year or two. Our CO2 emissions as a country have grown, but it's because we don't have the infrastructure to catch the gas that is being produced in West Texas and in North Dakota and use it. Instead, it's being flared off, which is why our CO2 emissions are rising slightly. But over the 20-year period, we've been flat or declining, and we're the only major industrialized country to do that. So let's go out and beggar our economy because we're doing what the rest of the world can't succeed
Well, you know, for those who are interested in learning more about it, you print off the resolution, you read it. I believe it's about 14 pages. And it's tough, it's tough to understand how they get to these lofty goals because there's really no specifics. There's no details as to how this would be achieved at all, let alone in a 10-year period, Karl. And there's this warning from Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, who obviously co-authored this, and she writes this: "Don't mess with our future. When it comes to climate, it's all our lives at stake. The younger you are, the more consequences you will see. It's life and death for us, and we will fight like it." That is where she stands, and this is her belief.
Yeah, look, so in other words, she has a deeply ideological view that we're all going to die unless we do exactly what she tells us to do. And we saw what she wanted to do. She put out a fact sheet on her website that listed off the things that they would do. They would literally kill oil and natural gas, coal and nuclear within 10 years in order to get to what's called zero emissions. So, you know, people had set this as a goal of trying to get to zero emissions by 2050, and even then the scientists were saying this is going to be difficult to do. Nobody that I'm aware of who has a reputation worth anything suggests that we can do that within 10 years without disrupting our American economy. And she's got in there a guaranteed federal job. Everybody has to be paid a union wage. We're going to retrofit every house. We're going to transform manufacturing and agriculture. God knows what that means. This is a laundry list of lunatic ideas. Even left-wingers like Jonathan Chiat at the New Yorker have said this is a complete mess, and Democrats shouldn't be endorsing this kind of nonsense.
Harvard environmentalists have looked at this and said this is not achievable, especially in a 10-year period, talking more about 30, 40 years out. Final thought, Ed Markey, who co-authored this with Ocasio Cortez, he's saying that Mitch McConnell's basically just trying to sabotage this movement by bringing this to the Senate floor for a vote. Your thoughts, finally?
Wait a minute. H.R. 109, I thought this was the way we were supposed to go. If it's the way we're going to go, then stand up proudly and say you're for it. I think this is a great move by Mitch McConnell to show the hypocrisy of the left. They toss out these nutty ideas and then scream when people are given a chance to vote it up or down and to discuss it. Republicans had better take this seriously and pursue it for the next year and a half because it will help them paint the Democratic Party for what it is, which is taken over by the nutty left.